I avoid injuries like the plague. I don't feel like doing things that will give me unnecessary bruises, cuts, scarring, and so on. Even growing up, when my peers would be doing their rough plays and stuff, I wouldn't join them. To me, it just wasn't worth it. I just try to avoid injuries to the best of my ability. But with that said, there was this time I did get a major injury. So around this time in my life, I was around 9, 10 years old, thereabouts. I can't remember which exact age. But and as a 9, 10 year old, what was really important at the time was having a bicycle. Like, bro, if you have a bicycle, you're like your mate. Like, that was the status symbol. And the thing that even put more pressure on us was all our friends and neighbors and stuff. They all had bicycles, but we didn't have any, and our parents never wanted to buy it. They were always like, if you want us to buy a bicycle, you have to get first in the class. You know, when you carry first out of everybody in the class, then we'll buy bicycle for you. And funny thing, I did carry first. There was a year. I remember I carried first one particular year, and they still didn't buy the bicycle. So they basically scammed us. So particular period, it was holiday period. Like our one class had ended, and we're about to start like a new class. So that holiday break in between the two classes. Then one of our friends and neighbors at the time, he lived on like the next street. He had just gone to revamp his bicycle. Turns that yes, even though all our friends and neighbors and everybody had bicycles, like a lot of them zone was beat up. Like basically, some of them have any brakes. Chain is bad, so you can't even pedal it. Like you have to push it manually. Tires will also be flat. This that, and basically parents won't need to just bother to repair. Like once something goes wrong with it, they'll just abandon it basically. But this particular time, he had gone to revamp his bicycle, so he had given it chain. He was able to paddle, giving it brakes, giving it a new seat. Like basically, like every child's dream, basically. So this my neighbor will call him Michael for the sake of the story. Obviously, when we saw Michael with his brand new whip, we all just had to go out to go and play. But when I say we all, I actually just mean me and my other brother because it was only both of us that went out. Then one of our other neighbors as well. I also call her Marvelous for the sake of the story. So me, my brother, Marvelous, and Michael, all of us riding around, playing, having fun. Because we didn't have a bicycle, we had to go to our other neighbor, but she wasn't even around at the time, so we just wanted to carry her own bike. And our own was busted, the chain was bad, didn't have brakes, tires were kind of flat. But we carried it anyways, we're still going to have fun regardless. So what we'll basically do is we'll go up the road because the road at the time was somewhat slopey. So when we go to the top, we'll basically race against Michael to the bottom. It was mostly just me and my brother. The other Marvelous, she didn't really. She just stood around, just I don't know, doing random stuff. She didn't really ride. Since our own bicycle that we borrowed didn't have, like we couldn't pedal. One person will have to push the other person on the bike. So that's how the person will like pedal. Then they will race against Michael since Michael could pedal and his bike was mwah. But usually Michael will give us a head start maybe for like a few seconds or few minutes. Or usually few seconds because like he knew he could pedal so he would still go past us anyway. So basically that's what we're doing, we're having fun. So it will be like my turn, my brother will push me, then it will be my brother's turn, I'll be the one to push my brother. So basically doing it like that, go up the road, push each other down, ride with Michael, all of us go down, do it again over and over and over and over again for hours. At the time, one of my older cousins was the one that they assigned to babysit us. He should have been around 16, 17 years old at this time. So they basically told him to watch over us. Then also, my dad had some guys that were working there with him, helping him assist and do his work. My dad wasn't around, but they were there doing their work and stuff. So there were like at least fair number of adults around to at least keep us safe and all that. So we're basically riding around, enjoying each other. So the things that even though we're doing it turn by turn, my bro was enjoying it so much that he would just be like, oh, let him just do it again, pushing down again. So I also just let him ride it. I didn't really mind pushing him on the bike too much. And there was this time I now pushed him, so we did the race again. Pushed my other bro, ran as fast as I could, push him. Then I left the bicycle and watched him go descend down the slope. Then I remember as I pushed him, I was standing at the middle of the road, just looking at him ride down the slope with his bicycle. And it was then I did remember like Michael is still at the back. So I turned back to look at Michael, to see how he was doing. And when I look, I saw Michael directly at my back coming with full speed with his bicycle. And yeah, I was hit. I remember when the bicycle hit me, everything was in slow motion. I don't even know how that was possible. I remember everything slow motion. I remember I saw Michael as he was flying off the bike. I remember looking at the bike, seeing it, wobbling away, and I was just mid-air before everything else sped back up and caught up with time. All of us fell on the floor, everybody rushed over to come and see it, like, oh, hope we're okay. Then Michael got up, he was fine, nothing happened to him. Bicycle was pretty okay, nothing really happened to it. Me, so I was fine as well. I looked at my body, didn't see any like cuts or scars or anything. Then they were like I should get up from the ground because I was still sitting on the floor. So I was like, yeah, let me just stand up. And as I tried to stand up, that was when I felt it. This was one of the most excruciating pains I've ever felt in my life. Where your foot and this long bone from your knee is, where your ankle is. I remember as I put my leg against the ground, I felt space there. Like there was basically nothing. It's like the bone had removed. Then this bone connecting from my knee pressed against the foot, almost as if it was like trying to start. Like it was really, really painful, man. And I felt one of the worst pains in my life. I remember I fell back down, and then I started to cry. Like it was almost as if when I didn't know I had broken my leg, I was on the ground. I didn't feel any pain, but immediately my brain now knew that, oh, you just broke your leg. All of a sudden, my leg started really, really hot like crazy. I remember I was screaming, I was shouting, crying, like the little 9 year old that I was. And all those guys that were working for my dad, they all came down to check what was up. They saw that I had broken my leg and stuff, so they carried me to the side they were sitting at. I remember it also started getting swollen, like it was just getting bad. It was getting worse. I was feeling a lot of pain. It did calm down a little bit, but bro, it was not fun. So they called my parents. Then few minutes after, my mom came to come and pick me up and stuff. So I remember we then went to the hospital since I obviously couldn't walk to like inside the hospital and stuff. My uncle had to carry me on his shoulders and stuff. I also remember like as I was on his shoulders and my leg was, I was just dangling like a dead body basically. My leg, there was this pole thing that was there. My leg would be eating every single one of them. And each time my leg would have contact with the pole, like that pain would spike. Like it was really, really crazy. Like it's hot, man. I couldn't tell him, hey, stop carrying me or stuff. He just kept going. Like he didn't even notice. He just kept walking and my leg was hitting almost every single one of them. So eventually we got to like the doctor's office. I think my uncle now left, so it was just me and my mom. Then the doctor came to attend to us and stuff. I remember they then started to touch the leg to see what was wrong with it and stuff, and I started to feel pain a lot, like excruciating pain, feeling a lot of pain. I started crying and stuff. And all these doctors and nurses started to surround me. It was looking quite scary and stuff. I remember I was just screaming and crying, and my mom was like, "Be a man, be a man." Then one of them brought out injection, and it was like, they were have to inject me with this stuff. I didn't even know what it was. But my mom was basically saying, be a man. So as we were putting the needles in my body, more pain. I was crying, crying. But like, after I gave me that injection, I just faded out of consciousness. Then I woke up the next morning. Literally, like, it was as if I just, like, closed my eyes, opened it, and it was the next morning. And I saw my uncle in the room I was. I think I was there with other people. I can't even remember. Well, I do know I was lying on the hospital bed. Then I looked at my leg, POP was on it. Then I saw my uncle sitting at the corner, using his crappy Android phone at the time. So then my parents came to pick me up, took me back home. And the doctor then recommended we use clutches, so basically to assist me so I'll be able to walk. But I think my mom had a weird feeling about it that she didn't like seeing her child, using clutches and stuff. It just gave her this weird ick. Well, me also being the over energetic 9 year old that I was, clutches was boring. Oh, you want to use clutches? When I have another leg, I'm going to hop on this leg, use it to navigate. And basically, for the next 2 months, I lived on one leg. Like, I usually literally just use one leg to move around. Like, basically, anytime I wanted to go anywhere, I'll just hop on my one leg to where I needed to go. So, about 2 months later, maybe 2 months and a few weeks thereabouts, we went back to the hospital. They removed the POP, and I had to like walk again. I remember my left leg was significantly thinner than the right one because it had been under the POP for like 2 months straight, and I couldn't walk again. Like walking, I had to like relearn how to walk. It was kind of crazy. But it's also crazy when I think back to it that as a child, your body is so fragile in the sense that just bicycle hit and I basically broke my leg, but also very, very good at recovering. That just 2 months, basically I was back to normal. Like my leg just fixed. It's like it basically fixed itself. I don't know, maybe that's how medicine works and stuff, but I just find it cool. I don't know. Eventually, I learned how to walk again, after practice a little bit here and there, doing a little bit of exercise. I was able to walk again. The only time I do remember I did feel pain again from the leg was a few months after that. So this time the new class had started. I think I was in primary 5 or 5th grade, whichever part of the world you live in. There was this random day, like my leg just really started to hurt me like crazy again, as if I just broken it. Like similar to that pain I felt when I broke the leg. I started feeling it again in school, so I could barely walk. I was feeling crying, feeling a little pain, screaming and stuff. I remember I called my mom. She came to school to pick me up a little early. Then we went to the hospital to do like X-ray. But funny enough, as she just came, it's almost like the pain just stopped. So I don't know whether my body was just craving to see her. Basically, she came, the pain just stopped. Went to the hospital, did the X-ray. Like nothing they said, nothing was wrong with the leg basically. And since then till date, like I've never felt any pain in my leg again. I won't find it difficult now to even believe that I actually broke this leg sometime in the past. Like that's crazy. But yeah, that's like the most major injury I've had during my lifetime. Another one I do remember having, but this one definitely not as severe or as serious as breaking my leg was. I think I was trying to heat up the water or something. Then I put it in the cup, then put the cup in the microwave. Then after it was ready and stuff, I brought it out. And the water was hot. But part of the water poured on my hand. I remember it spilled out, like part of it spilled from the cup because I was carrying it carefully. Because when like this one even happened when I was one younger than 9 years old, so maybe I should have been like 6, 7, 8, like, I don't know how old I was. Part of it poured on my hand, and basically that part where the hot water touched of my skin just melted. Like that part of my skin literally just melted away. It's crazy now that I think about it. Like, wow, was my skin that fragile? This one wasn't too painful. I didn't feel too much pain, other than just a little bit of burn and stuff. But the part of my skin that melted away a little bit, like it started to itch. There was this itchy, pepperish feeling around it, so it was pretty uncomfortable. I remember I was gonna dip my hand inside cold water to try to make it feel better. Sometimes it just feels exactly the same or worse. But yeah, as the days passed by, it started getting a little bit better. And the first skin there that kind of melted away, I didn't peel it off completely. I just left it there because I was like 7. And when I went to school, the way kids are, just them doing their rough play games, like they basically peeled off this that first skin side away. And I remember when they did it, I was freaking out, like, oh my god, they have peeled my hand. What do I do? After that, as the days passed by, the hand eventually healed, and yeah, I became fine again. But the thing did form a scar on my hand. It did form a scar. I remember there used to be like a circular spot where, like, if you look at my hand, you see like a circular spot. There's like a scar that formed there. But now, if I look at my hand, I can't like I don't think I can't see any circular spots again because I've had so many other injuries and scars that I don't even know which is which. Like, but basically, I'm not seeing any circular spots. I can't even remember if it was my left or right hand. But yeah, basically, that was like the only time I've really injured. Like, I'm not really somebody that injures a lot. I try to avoid it to the best of my ability because being injured is not fun. I also wanted to talk about being sick in this video, but I don't want this video to be longer than 30 days, so I'll make that a part 2. So, what can you learn from this story? I don't know, man. Just try not to injure yourself. Like, just be safe out there, man.